Hey everyone, it's Paul. Last week, I said I'd write about the effect these immigration sweeps are having on housing security for affected families, and revisit one of the solutions I proposed a few weeks ago, giving cash grants to people affected by the sweeps. In my research this week, I found some alarming stats on the economic impact and two recent articles highlighting the success of cash grants to individuals, plus the latest proposals to continue giving cash directly to residents to help them stay housed. Over the past 5 years, anywhere from 120 to 230 Angelenos have lost their housing every single day. That's tens of thousands of people who have entered our already overworked support systems. But now we're facing a perfect storm. The current sweeps will undoubtedly put more families on the street, just as the January fires in Altadena and Pacific Palisades, which destroyed over 16,000 structures, displaced tens of thousands more. The economic effects of ICE sweeps have been immediate. A July 16th article from LAist and CalMatters states, California experienced a 3.1% drop in private sector jobs within a single week after federal immigration raids, worse than the Great Recession or COVID. ABC News has reported that mass deportations could slash California's GDP by up to $275 billion. The sweeps are causing damage to our economy, but that's nothing compared to the damage done to the lives of our neighbors, now multiplied by the fire crisis, and we're just a few weeks into this mess. Henry Sabassi, an eviction defense attorney with Bet Sedek, was quoted as saying, "We will likely see an uptick of folks being evicted due to non-payment of rent, and the inciting event will be their loved one was detained and taken by immigration and customs enforcement." And we're already hearing that animal shelters are filling up with pets left behind when their humans were hauled away. We took the train this past week, and it was eerily quiet. It was a little after 5 p.m. when we started our trip, and there were a few riders coming from Pasadena, but we all got off at Union Station, and as soon as we stepped into the long hallway to get our connecting train, we were alone. We saw a few security guards and Metro ambassadors moving through the empty halls, but no other riders. When my Metro card failed, 3 Metro ambassadors rushed to help me. We were the only people passing through those turnstiles. And it wasn't until we got on the train that we saw anyone else. Even then, there were only 2 other passengers in that entire car. People are not working, not going to the doctor, not going to school, not leaving their homes. How will they ever be able to keep their heads above water, especially when the fires have already pushed so many under? One tenant organizer said, many immigrant renters are in a double bind. Am I going to be picked up and deported without due process, or am I going to be sent out on the streets? And it's not just LA. Reports are coming in that sweeps in San Francisco and recently Sacramento are emptying the streets. Tourism is down. Foreigners are being warned away from visiting the U.S. They're not shopping or eating in our restaurants. And I recently read an article saying that for every 1 deportation, we lose 8 jobs. Is it really worth it to do so much damage to people's lives? The domino effect will continue well past the last days of this current administration, and it may take years for California to recover from both crises. But the people who suffer worst are already those in the margins. 67% of undocumented households in LA were already rent-burdened before the raids. Adding to the fact that Latino homelessness grew 28% between 2022 and 2023, the fastest growth among any demographic. Recent immigration raids have stripped many Los Angeles families of their primary breadwinner. Other immigrant workers who have not been detained are also losing income as workplaces shut down to avoid becoming the next target for masked, armed federal agents. Recently, both the LA City Council and LA County Supervisors have proposed programs to help keep people housed. The city is providing a couple $100 cash cards through immigrant rights groups, and the county has approved a philanthropic fund for rent and wage replacement. This last idea is remarkable because the county supervisors have asked private charities and philanthropists to donate to this fund. There's so much money in this country, enough to end homelessness immediately if we wanted to. And it encourages me to see our government make a direct appeal to the billionaire class. Let's see who steps up. In response to the fire, the county has also established the Los Angeles County Relief Fund. This fund, supported by an initial $32 million county fund, will provide direct financial relief to homeowners, tenants, workers, and small business owners and those affected. 2 cities I've had the pleasure of working with have also stepped up. Long Beach created the Long Beach Neighbors Supporting Neighbors Fund with an initial $100,000 from the California Community Foundation, and Montebello committed $100,000 in general funds toward a rent and utility relief program. Notably, this is the only city that's using taxpayer funds. And the state of California pledged $25 million in legal aid. Governor Newsom committed $100 million to jumpstart critical rebuilding efforts after the LA fires, including a special program designed to provide housing stability for fire-displaced families as quickly as possible. Can't we just extend this push to creating housing for every Angeleno? It's a start, and something is better than nothing, and no, it doesn't go far enough, said Estuardo Mazariegos, co-director of the LA Alliance of Californians for Community Empowerment. Over 600,000 people in LA County are rent-burdened, meaning they pay over 50% and as high as 90% of their take-home pay in rent. We have always been a low-wage, high-rent town, and the fires have made this worse. Rising housing demand from wildfire victims will worsen LA's existing housing shortage, likely forcing more low-income Angelenos into homelessness in the long term. Even worse, homeless service providers and advocates also say they fear the focus on wildfire recovery is already diverting public attention and resources away from homelessness. Since the 1990s, housing growth has lagged far behind population growth. California needs 3.8 to 4 million housing units just to meet the current need, and that was before we lost 16,000 structures to the fire. Building our way out is going to be tough because it takes time, supplies, people, and a lot of money. In LA, right now, it costs between $700,000 and $800,000 for every one-bedroom unit that's built, and 25% of the construction workforce is under imminent threat of deportation. We've thrown billions of dollars at the problem, and it's still not working. The system's not built for what needs to happen. And while some cities and the county are stepping up to offer help, they were already struggling with budget shortfalls. Long Beach faces a general fund shortfall of $61 million over the next 5 years, and LA County's budget has been rocked by a $4 billion sex abuse settlement. Mayor Bass said, "I wish we had general fund money for that," after signing the budget with hundreds of layoffs and other service cuts to close nearly $1 billion revenue shortfall. So what do we do? How do we fix this when the system itself is broken and resources being stretched ever thinner? First, let's talk about what's working. There's mounting evidence that giving money directly to people facing homelessness actually works. The UK just finished a trial where they gave homeless individuals personal budgets to spend however they needed. Modesto offered cash grants to qualifying residents, and LA has piloted several programs making cash available to residents in need. And the results? People use the money wisely for rent deposits, work clothes, transportation to jobs. There's no bureaucracy, no means testing, just trust and cash. Here in LA, we're seeing glimmers of hope through community action as well. The United to House LA Coalition is pushing to redirect Measure ULA funds, our mansion tax on properties over $5 million, to help families affected by the raids. It's poetic justice, using wealth from luxury real estate sales to keep working families housed. Governor Newsom issued an executive order to fast-track temporary housing for Los Angeles, including measures to streamline construction and occupancy of ADUs. Also extending CEQA and Coastal Act exemptions from the governor's executive order to accelerate rebuilding efforts to ADUs, making it easier to place temporary trailers and other housing. California's Home Key Plus program is converting motels into permanent housing at the rate of $144,000 per unit, a fraction of new construction costs. We need more of this kind of creative thinking. But we also need more basics. Eviction moratoriums for raid-affected families, legal representation for renters, and yes, more cash assistance programs. As one advocate told LAist, we have the opportunity to extend help to people directly impacted by this crisis, just like we extended it to the people directly impacted by the fires. This is happening now in our neighborhoods to our neighbors. The immigration raids have torn the mask off our housing crisis. The fires have burned away any remaining illusions. We can no longer pretend that this is someone else's problem. When 600,000 Angelenos are one paycheck away from the streets, when families are choosing between paying rent and buying food, when fear itself becomes a cause of homelessness, we are all affected. In Los Angeles and across the U.S., solutions to homelessness and the lack of affordable housing are needed to build equitable, climate-resilient cities. The fires have shown us that people experiencing homelessness face unique risks and suffer the most severe effects during disasters because response and recovery efforts often lack the knowledge, resources, and capacity to meet their specific needs. So here are this week's action items we can all take. Just pick one thing. Support a mutual aid group, show up and demand that your city council members support eviction protections, give to the Long Beach Neighbors Supporting Neighbors Fund or the LA County Relief Fund, or push LA to use the mansion tax dollars for emergency assistance. At the very least, learn your unhoused neighbor's name. The solutions exist, the money exists. The only question is whether we have the will to act before the next crisis hits. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week.